Imagine, if you will, a dimension, not only sawdust and fiberglass, but endless repetitive tasks. A dimension where dreams of freedom on the open water collide headfirst with the reality of sanding, gluing, painting, and seriously questioning your life's choices. You just crossed over into the boat builder zone. What you're about to witness may very well be the most soul-crushingly captivating boat building video ever to grace YouTube. If you've ever dreamt of crafting your own vessel, consider this both an invitation and a warning, because on this journey you'll encounter not just the mundane, but the absurdly monotonous. 1,000 tiny mind-numbing steps that will blur the line between dedication and madness. In this strange and bewildering realm, I'll be your guide, sharing the pain, the joy, and the moments of existential crisis that define boat building. Ask yourself, will you emerge inspired, or will you flee, clutching your sanity tightly? The answer lies just ahead.
Welcome back, folks. It's another exciting week in the boat shop. I hope you like that new intro. That was just kind of fun one-off thing to do, but it kind of wraps up where my head is at this point in time. The weather's been wacky, life's in the way. It's too cold to do epoxy work, so I'm struggling to try and get anything done at this point in time. Here you can see we're just adding a little paint to the inside of the hull. It's not something that anybody will see, but I just hate the look of bare fiberglass, so I'm going to cover it up. This is the first year where I really haven't got a plan of attack. I've kind of stymied. There's so much to do, so many little things, especially with electrics and plumbing and all that stuff, that I'm really just struggling to figure the sequence that all these tasks have to be done. And I'm kind of like the dog perpetually chasing his tail, as you do one thing and it affects something else, and I really just haven't got a cohesive plan in place. As I'm recording this voiceover, we've just passed 1,300 subscribers, which is pretty encouraging news. And the growth has been steady. We're gaining about one new subscriber a day, so month after month that adds up. And that's giving us some incentive to keep going with these YouTube videos. I know some of them, especially this one, is going to be extremely boring, but I'm going to leave it a little longer. I usually edit it down to get around 12, 13, maybe 15 minutes long. That way I'm not totally sucking your brains dry trying to get you to watch our videos. But our watch time hours aren't all that great. A lot of people tune in, they'll watch a minute or two, and then they just swipe away. And we would like it if you would stick through this one, and maybe we can build up our watch time hours just a little bit. Thanks if you can hold in that long. We had a couple of decent days weather-wise, and the temps were actually ideal, but I wanted to get this painting done so I can move on trying to fit out this forward cabin. And if I can knock out the starboard side here, then I can move on to the port side and start working on the head, which is going to require quite a lot of work. It's pretty satisfying getting some color on this bare hull, even if it's something that most people will never ever see. It's just nice to know it's covered up and it looks half decent. Lori's feeling a little bit better, folks. Managed to get her out of the house yesterday to get some fresh air and do a little shopping, and that was kind of funny because you could tell she was kind of out of touch, wandering the aisles, trying to figure out what she needed to get. It was a bit of a hoot, but yeah, things are getting better around here. So this past winter, tried to produce a little short video every day, basically just to try and keep the channel alive and keep the interest up a little bit. But I pretty much exhausted all of my old footage that's suitable for making these silly little short videos. But a lot of people seem to like them. Some do, some don't. Let me know in the comments what you think of the short little video clips. I'd like to hear what your thoughts are on those. So what I'm using here isn't a fancy epoxy paint. This is plain old trim clad, and I don't suspect. I don't know what that was I just said, but anyways, um, yeah, it's just plain old trim clad. I don't suspect that this area will be exposed to too much water. I hope not. Anyways, I hope the boat's waterproof, but it was a much cheaper alternative than a two-part epoxy paint, which you've seen me use on other parts of the hull, in the engine room spaces and under the decks and things like that. So I'm cheap, I admit it. So as this little job comes to an end, the next section is going to be really riveting, really exciting. Yeah, you're going to be just stymied, and I'm sure you're going to love that. But anyways, the day I did this painting, it was only a couple of degrees above freezing, So I had to put some heat on to help the paint cure, and that worked out okay. It only took about 3 hours for the paint to be dry to the touch, and I didn't have to leave a heater on it overnight or anything like that, which I don't really like doing. So here we go, the next exciting phase. Are you ready? Are you excited? You're going to want to pay close attention to this because it's just unbelievable. Well, it's time for a massive cleanup, folks. I generally thrive in chaos, but this is a little out of control, and I really need to get stuff organized to the point where I can find what I'm looking for when I need it. Seem to spend an inordinate amount of time trying to figure out where I've put my tools. They're scattered all over, so bought myself some totes. Gonna label them. I'm gonna be so organized that I'll never ever be able to find anything ever again. I've cleaned out the fore cabin on the port and starboard sides, and a lot of what was stored in there is now in the forepeak or in the main cabin here. And I'm a terrible junk collector. I got collections of stuff everywhere, and now it's just in the way. And that's not acceptable when this is your primary workspace. I don't know if you can notice, but the green box is back, and that's how I keep the epoxy warm during these cold temperatures. And the epoxy's in there, so stuff is going to start getting real pretty quick. I'm a terrible junk collector. I never throw anything away. You never throw away your good stuff because as soon as you do, you're going to have to run to the store and buy it again. So I'm going to try and make a concerted effort to stop doing that. I know it's hard. It's part of having OCD, I guess. The main cabin really isn't that big a space. It's about 8 feet wide and about 10 feet long, and it's absolutely huge compared to what it's going to be like once all the furnishings are built in. But so I'll take advantage of the space while I can, get it a little better organized. We've got some tabbing and taping to complete before we can move on to other projects, and this is where we're at. Hopefully, we'll get there eventually. I'm really envious of these boat builders on YouTube that have these big, beautiful workshops, concrete floors, heated, insulated, well lit, all the tools, separate space for carpentry work where creating dust isn't an issue. And I really wish I had maybe invested a bit more money in a better shelter to build this boat in, but we were really tight on space. And I pay for that because most of the materials and tools that I need all have to be stored on the boat, so that I can actually get any work done. I'm getting a pretty good workout moving all this stuff around, which is good. I mean, all this winter, with the weather being so bad, I pretty much sat on my ass and didn't do too much. And some of you will notice I've packed a few pounds back on, so hopefully we'll get moving and get exercising and get back into shape, because boat building is tough, and it's even tougher when you're carrying around a lot of extra weight for no reason. It often amazes me just how much stuff you need to build a boat. I mean, there's stuff everywhere. Oops, didn't mean to do that. But here I've had to bring out small bits and bobs and pieces and measure them for size, because a lot of these small things don't come with dimensional drawings or anything that you can, hypothetically work out in your head where they go, how they're going to fit, how you're going to get electricity or plumbing to them or anything like that. So what I'm doing here is I've got one box with just all these little things that I've had to bring aboard the boat, and naturally they get left behind. They don't get put back where they belong, so I've given them a new home. It's one funny thought I just had when, well, I was in the Coast Guard. I was a logistics officer, and we had to look after ordering and supplies and organizing where stuff was going to go, how it had to be ordered, including engineering spare parts, etc. And I knew where everything was, where everything went, and ensured that my storekeepers were able to do that. And when I retired, I kind of rebelled against all that, and my life just became a chaos. But I think I revel in the chaos and I enjoy it. If I could show you my living room, which is looks like a tornado went through it, there's stuff everywhere. I mean, stuff. I wouldn't consider myself a hoarder, but I mean, you surround yourself with things that remind you of certain periods of your life in time, and we've certainly got lots of that here. But we're not going to be able to do that on the boat. There's just not enough space to gather stuff that you like or remind you of something. Uh, like our RV's got 50 pounds of rocks that we picked up off the beach in PEI, and that's just not sustainable on a small boat. We've got some big challenges ahead this year. We're really late getting started due to the weather and other issues. I'm hoping that when Mother Nature cooperates, we'll be able to gain some traction and get a lot of these little jobs knocked off. And believe me, there are hundreds and hundreds of them. I've got a list somewhere. Uh, it's almost mind boggling what has to be done and figuring out in which order these things have to be done. And that's part of the challenge, part of the intellectual challenge. And quite frankly, it makes my brain hurt. If I can get the forward section of the boat as near completion as I can in the next couple of months, then I'll have to move back into the main cabin and lift the deck plates and start to work on more wiring and plumbing down below. And that will be exciting because once I can get the below decks work done, then we can install the hull linings and the deck head and install lights and things like that, and start to build the furniture for the main cabin, which I'm looking forward to, but I'm a little scared because I'm not much of a carpenter. I think I spent at least a couple of hours trying to get this main cabin cleared out, and I sped it up. Obviously, I've sped it up here. I would want to subject you to 2 hours of this nonsense, but it's one of those things that you just got to do. You're working in a tight space. You don't have dedicated workspace. You don't have enough room for storage for all your tools and your equipment and all the stuff that goes into the boat. And that's part of the reality and part of the what it takes to try and build a boat in your backyard. I was pretty much snookered after a couple hours of trying to get all this done, and as my buddy Ross in Australia says, I was rooted. uh, I'll let you, excuse me, I'll let you use your own imagination to figure out what that means if you're in Australia. So we're going to wrap this one up, folks. I hope you're all well and happy. If you made it this far, you're absolute legends. We appreciate you coming back to watch our videos. every week, and we'd like to hear from you. If you got any questions, just put them down in the comments, and we answer every comment we get or every question we get. So from Lori and I, we hope you're all well and happy, and we'll see you in the next one. Cheers, everybody.